Raphael Saadiq is an absolute unsung hero of R&B and soul music. Whether it's working solo on his fantastic 2009 album The Way I See It, or whether it's working with his 90s R&B group Tony, he really does kill it wherever he goes. Probably something that you didn't know as well, which is why he's an unsung hero of R&B, is that he produced the track Untitled How Does It Feel by D'Angelo, and he also produced the track Cranes in the Sky by Solange. So if those two names there aren't enough to sell you on this guy, then I don't know. I don't really know what else to say, to be honest. That's a pretty high recommendation for you there. Come on. The man is so slick. He is so charismatic. He's essentially what Anderson .Paak was doing before we heard the name Anderson .Paak break onto the scene. Not quite as versatile though, as Raphael does stick quite closely to the soul traditional sound that you will have heard many times before from the 70s, the golden era of soul. But he also has this little modern R&B twist on it that does make it sound even good today. However, on his latest album here, I think it does just hold him back a little bit, because it is just a bit too safe for Raphael. I mean, on his 2009 album, it isn't really just a standard soul album. You're getting so many fantastic performances, and it is essentially a pop album in a lot of ways because of how catchy a lot of the hooks are, how great the singing is throughout. Here it is kind of just a bit too, I guess, one note. I think hearing this for the first time without ever hearing his name wouldn't be too bad for you, because you might just be fine with enjoying the great smoothness of the soulful sounds that he's going for on this album. But for me, just knowing what he has done in the past, it does kind of leave a bit of a sour taste, just a slight sour taste. There's quite a heavy religious theme throughout the album, a few references to God, which can get a little corny, but it's not really the worst thing in the world. I mean, I'm not anti-religion to the point where I hate any references to God or whatever. I just think the way Raphael is doing it isn't exactly all that unique, and he probably could have kind of dug into some of the themes a bit better, made it a bit more interesting, because he's generally just so good at writing songs about his girl, his woman, his relationship, you know what I mean? He's just so smooth and likable in that sense that he can just get away with doing like a 10-track album with songs all about the same thing, but because he does it so well usually, it's not a problem. But here there are just a few vague attempts at digging into some societal issues here and there, but it just isn't like going far enough to make the album an interesting topic to be discussed. It is just kind of beating around the bush just a little bit. And I know I may be coming across as a bit negative here, but honestly, I am probably nitpicking a bit too much, because the songs do sound good. Like, the production value here is so top notch. On a track like So Ready, he completely funks things up. It is just such a jam, this track. It sounds like some Dame Funk type stuff. But it is a bit of a shame that he doesn't really, keep at that sound, but to hear it just even once on the album is refreshing. Something Keeps Calling has such a great bass line that it really does remind me of something that Steve Lacy would do. It's like the best version of what you should have got from Steve Lacy's album earlier in the year, which was such a disappointment, Jesus. As well as that, Rikers Island has such a great gospel sound to it. Really sounds like something that Michael Kiwanuka would completely kill on an album of his. So yeah, he definitely is dabbling in and out of different sounds, but it all is just a bit too close to the traditional ideas that I just don't really expect from Raphael. I mean, they're good tracks, but they are just good tracks of their standard genres, and I just feel as though Raphael brings something different usually to his albums that make it a bit more of a fresh listen. I mean, there's even a Kendrick Lamar feature right at the end of the album, but there is nothing really exciting about it here. He just essentially does the chorus, and again, like, this is something where he could have really taken things a step further and done something a bit unique, but to me, it just feels like everything's being played safe here. Definitely cool to hear Kendrick's voice, but like, you know, I'm sure we could get a bit more out of Kendrick than what we got here, surely. Pretty solid album overall, though. I know I've been fairly negative throughout. I think it's just my expectations of him as an artist are just so high that something like this feels a bit disappointing, but I do want to say it is pretty good overall. A 6 out of 10 from me, an absolute worthwhile listen, and an album that you'll get a few tracks out of at least, even if you weren't head over heels for the whole thing. But I think you could definitely find some enjoyment out of this, especially around a time where there isn't really much in the R&B genre that's kind of grabbing a lot of people this year, especially. There's not really been much in the way of, you know, wow, this is an amazing R&B album. No albums have really done that so far, but maybe this one could be the one for you. Thank you for watching my review. Hope you enjoyed watching what I had to say. Let me know your thoughts on this if you've heard it as well. Thank you. Have a good day. Goodbye.